Super excited to be joined by KSR co-host. Well, I guess this week it's KSR host Ryan Lemon. Ryan, how you doing?
Yeah, Matt's taking pretty much the whole month of September off, so we're kind of juggling hosting, co-hosting, setting things up, doing live shows. So it's a musical chairs when he's not here for a while.
How does that big chair feel?
I don't like it, to be honest. I prefer to be like the sidekick guy. I think that's a better role for me than to kind of host the show. So Drew Franklin and I are kind of starting to where we're going to take turns. But even Drew was off all week last week, so there was no Drew, no Billy, no Matt. It was just Shannon the dude, Mario, and me for a week. So we struggled through and got by.
Hey, sometimes you need the key crew to hold down the fort, right?
It makes a difference. You got that chemistry when you've done a show so long like we have, and when you take one cog out of that rotation, it does kind of throw you for a loop a little bit. But when you throw two cogs out of the loop, then it really kind of gets bad.
Well, Ryan, I certainly appreciate you doing this. As I
Sure,
told you
man.
before we came on air, that listen to KSR pretty much from the beginning, and love you all. Uh, I appreciate what you all are doing, and you all put your lives out there for everybody to see. I know that's not easy.
No, it's not, and I think that's one reason though people I think are drawn to the show. They just get the impression it's just four guys, just four friends sitting around a table having a Coca Cola and just talking about their life. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of our show's success is because of that. We're just somebody you'd see down at McDonald's and just sit with them, talk about your kids and your neighbors and going to the grocery store, whatever the topic it is of the day. That's what we talk about.
Right, right. So let's go back to the beginning. I think a lot of your KSR listeners know you grew up in Otwell, Indiana.
Yeah.
Your dad was a high school basketball coach. You wanted to play
Yeah.
for Bob Knight. So talk about just going from there to you went to Kentucky Wesleyan to play baseball.
Yeah, we grew up in a little bitty, teeny tiny town in Indiana, Otwell, Indiana, population 400. My dad was the high school coach, and then when I was in elementary school, they made one high school for the whole county. So all the schools consolidated into one county school, Pike Central High School. So that's where my dad went to coach. That's where I ended up going to school. Yeah, my lifelong dream was to play basketball for my dad. I finally got that. I was his point guard for 3 years, sophomore, junior, senior year. I knew I was going to be a point guard for Bob Knight at IU. But then, when you grow to be 5 foot nothing, there ain't no college coaches coming to look at you for basketball. So I went the baseball route, ended up at Kentucky Wesleyan College in Owensboro, and set me on another path that I didn't know was coming my way.
Still the all-time steals leader at Kentucky Wesleyan, right?
Thank you, Adam. Yeah, you need to point that out. That's a record that will never, ever, ever be broken. That it's one of those like the Cal Ripken consecutive game streak. It just happened, and you just got to appreciate it. And I don't know where my statue is yet at Kentucky Wesleyan, but for stolen bases, maybe they don't build one.
That's great, man. So you go from Kentucky Wesleyan and you end up in Evansville, correct? With journalism?
Yeah, I did an internship when I was at Kentucky Wesleyan. I did an internship at the ABC station in Evansville, Indiana. And that's when I knew that's what I wanted to do. I mean, that changed my life. That summer internship, working with a guy named Randy Moore and Mike Mallory, and they taught me a lot about the business. And then when I graduated from Kentucky Wesleyan, I got a job at a little TV station in Owensboro, Kentucky. I worked there for about a year. Got the job at Channel 7, the ABC affiliate where I did my internship. They hired me. I worked there for 4 years. Went to the NBC station in Evansville for 2 years, and then got the big break. I got the job at Channel 18 in Lexington, where I worked there for about 12 years. So my background is in TV. I mean, I know I do radio now, but my background from college for the first 20 years of my life was really in TV.
So
20
what
years of my professional life, I mean, I should say.
what year did you come to WLEX in Lexington?
I came here in January of '96. Now, 2 months later, they're cutting down the nets. The next year, they go to the Final Four. Tim Couch in the Outback Bowl. They win it all in '98. I mean, I came at the perfect time. I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't have timed it any better. We became the true blue fan station. So it was all timing was just perfect. It just worked out for me. But I loved what I did at Channel 18, WLEX. And like I said, I was there for 12, almost 12 years.
Yeah, that was pretty much my growing up period, and I saw you a lot on air, and but what a golden era for Kentucky sports in general, basketball and football. Just the 96, 97, 98, 99 run. That was a heck of a run.
We really got spoiled. It was such a good run. We all got spoiled. We thought that's the way it's supposed to be all the time.
Yeah.
So then when Tubby became the coach, and then he had toward the end of his career, they were having exits in the second round of the NCAA tournament. It just didn't feel right, or what we just experienced 10 years prior with Patino and then Tubby's first year. So we definitely got spoiled.
Mhm. Which is odd. So moving from Tubby to Billy Gillespie, that's really when Matt Jones fired up KSR, was during the Patrick Patterson, Jay Lucas recruitment. It took off, and then you all really blew up from there.
Yeah, that time span is exactly when they hired Billy Gillespie. 2 months later, I left Channel 18 and was doing just real estate stuff, some side hustle radio stuff. And Matt started KSR as a website, and he really got a lot of traction. And you're right, gained a lot of followers from following the recruitment of Patrick Patterson and Jay Lucas. I mean, that kind of set him apart from everybody. They had an in with Patrick Patterson's people, and they got information nobody else got, and it kind of springboard them on to bigger and better things in the website, which of course led to the radio show, which of course led to all this other stuff that's been going on.
What has the biggest difference been between from where you started doing television to moving into radio?
Well, in radio, I don't have to shower, I don't have to shave, I don't have to wear clean clothes if I don't want to. I can just show up in my pajamas. And I've done shows here in this very room, post game shows and pre game shows in parish gym trunks and a t-shirt. Nobody cares. It's radio.
Right.
TV, you got to shave every day.
Get
You
all
got to have
dolled
your
up.
hair right. Yeah, you got to wear a tie. I mean, I don't know how many times though I did the sports at Channel 18, coat, shirt, tie, and shorts. Because you never saw the person's pants. So I always do. If it was the summertime, I 99% of the time had shorts on underneath that anchor desk.
I totally understand. I get hot so easy that I'm wearing shorts almost all the time.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
that's awesome, man. Well, from talk about just the past few years, it's been a whirlwind, not just with UK sports. We had a great run in football, and now that's kind of well, that's to be determined what Stoops is going to do. We had a huge run with Calipari, and then that kind of floundered off. But now we're hopefully having a resurgence with Mark Pope. Talk about your last 6 years, man, because I know you shared a little bit on KSR that it's been a difficult, past run over the past few years for you. Talk about how, first of all, what you've gone through and what has gotten you through it.
Well, that's tough, because it's been a rough couple 5 or 6 years, and it just kind of coincided. The house that I live in right now, the house where I'm at right now, seems like once after we moved in that house, my life just kind of took a turn, and I never saw it coming. My middle son got into some bad trouble with the law. He's in jail. He's been in jail for over 40 years. He's going to be in jail for several more years. I mean, he messed up, and we went through that, and then right when that was going on, we were at COVID, and we are all stuck at home. And then my marriage fell apart, and we ended up getting a divorce. Then about a year later, my house caught on fire. I mean, I I talked to my pastor about it, and I told him, I said, they always say God doesn't put more on your shoulders that you can't handle. Tell God I'm good. I've got enough I can handle. I'm good right now. So it's been tough, but I've got some great friends. I got great parents. Uh, I've got a girlfriend. She's awesome, and it's just kind of helped keep me from getting down and depressed all the time, because it could be easy to do with the things that have happened.
Right.
I'm still dealing with a lot of it with my ex-wife and my son that's in jail. I mean, I don't share that stuff on KSR, but it doesn't go away. It's still there. So it's been tough, but we're all right. My son graduated high school, and he's moved out, so he's now at UK. So now I got the empty nest syndrome. It's me and my 3 dogs, and I hate it. I love it when the house has got some noise and some people in it, but just a life, I guess, that I got to get used to now for a while.
Yeah, yeah. Real quick, give a shout out to your church and your pastor.
It's Center Point Christian Church, and the pastor is Brian Bolton. And literally, if I go out the back deck of my house, I can see it. I live that close to my church. I have absolutely zero excuse not to show up on Sunday morning. And he reminds me of that. He goes, Ryan, your house is right there. I'm like, I know, I know. So, but I love that going to that church. I love the way I feel when I walk in there and listen to the message. It just recharges my batteries, and sometimes I need that. And keep looking forward, not backward. So Coach Brian Bolton, I call him Coach Bolton. He's really been a good friend of mine.
I appreciate you sharing that, and really just as a message to, we hear you on the air every day. We hear Matt and Drew and Shannon. We hear all of you on the air every day, but we don't know, unless you share on there, we don't know what's going on in your all's lives. We just hear, making fun of each other and having fun and talking Kentucky sports. But again, underneath all that, there's real people. So for you to
Yeah.
be so open and honest about, what you're going through, I appreciate you sharing that.
Well, we just went through it this past week with Drew Franklin, whose best friend Manny Robertson passed away unexpectedly.
Hmm.
Where we're just brothers. We kind of support each other, but yet we're going to poke fun at each other when the time calls for it. So it's that 2 hour radio show has saved me. I mean, because it's given me a way to step away from the stuff that's going on in my life. I could step away and for 2 hours and laugh, hang out with my friends, and enjoy life for a little bit. And I said this one day on the show. Said I owe a lot of gratitude to this radio show because it has really helped me through a lot of tough times in my life.
Yeah. And how many people have called in or texted in and said, I listen to you while I'm doing chemo or on
Yeah.
dialysis, or I mean, just the testimonies of other people that say, your 2 hours a day gets me through the day.
Well, I say all the time, that's why we do what we do. Matt gets mad at me when I say that all the time, but that's the truth. That's why we do what we do, because there's people out there like that it makes a difference. Somebody that maybe live in Canada that's from Litchfield, Kentucky, wants to feel still connected, they can listen to the show. UK fans from living in Alaska, we got this guy that used to call from Alaska, feels connected back to what's going on with Kentucky Wildcats. And like I said, somebody who's sitting in a doctor's office going through chemo, they can listen to our show, maybe laugh a little bit, going through some tough
Mhm.
times, but maybe they can smile and laugh at something that stupid that we said or did or getting ready to do.
Yeah, I think you all actually you got my wife addicted to the show. When it's not about sports. When y'all start talking sports, she tunes out. It's
Yeah.
when you do things like restaurant bracket or just silly things like that that she's like, "Did you hear this?"
Well, when we talk sports, the phone lines dry up. People don't call. But we talk about peanut butter or New Circle Road traffic, boom, the phone's going to light up.
Right.
So it's got to be a mix. We got to do, our Kentucky Wildcat coverage and do what we are supposed to do. But yet we're also an entertainment show. Our job is to entertain. We can't talk about X's and O's every hour of every day or nobody's going to listen, you
Right.
know?
So you're, as you mentioned, you're a father of three boys that are all older age. But I'm a father of three boys, 17, 8, and 3. What's a little advice as they grow into
Oh.
manhood?
Your boys are almost spread out like mine are. Mine are 27, 21, no, 27, 22, and 18. So they're kind of spread out a little
Mhm.
bit. You had to quit playing man to man and go zone when you get that young one. You and your wife were playing 3-on-2 at that point. So
Right.
all three of my boys are adopted. They're all three very different. I mean, very different. My oldest son, he doesn't even know who Mark Stoops is. He could care less about sports. He could care less about UK. I guarantee I could show him a picture of Mark Stoops and he wouldn't know who it was. He doesn't care. Uh, but he's forced me to get out of my sports closet. If I want to have a relationship with him, I had to get out of my sports closet and enjoy the things that he enjoys.
Right.
So he took me to a Renaissance fair in Eminence, Kentucky, and I thought this is going to be a geeky nerd fest that I'm not going to have fun at all. And he made me go with him, and I had the best time. It was so much fun, and I've learned a lot from him about, like I said, just getting out of that sports closet and enjoying other things in life. Now, my middle son, the one that's in jail, he was my ride or die. He's the one that would go with me to games. He would go with me. We'd go to Atlanta to a game, or he went to the national SEC tournament in Nashville with me. He was my ride or die. He just took a wrong turn in life and just really messed up and got in trouble. And my youngest son, he's one that's the best athlete of the group. The other two were not very good athletes, but the youngest one's probably the best athlete of the group. But he's real quiet and shy and timid. He's a low talker. It's hard to even talk to him. You can't hear what he says. So there are three very different dudes that all grew up in the same house.
Right. So you got to treat each one as individual and not treat all
Yeah,
three as the same.
yeah, yeah. And Josiah, the youngest one, I have really gotten close since the divorce. We've been just the two of us for about almost 4 years now. So I've basically been a single parent for 4 years and traveled all across the country with him, going to 7-on-7 tournaments or making college visits. And uh, I used to dread going every weekend on the road to Indianapolis or spending more money, or Nashville or Cincinnati or Atlanta and spending more money. But I already missed those days. It was so with your boys. My advice is just soak up every single second, go to every single game, every single practice, and if they want to do something and you're tired, suck it up and do it anyway, because those days are going to be over.
Right, right. I know you said all your sons are adoptive, but talk about your other adoptive son, Mr. Dane Key. That didn't you just get back from going out to Nebraska?
Yeah, it worked out perfect where Kentucky was off this past weekend. It was their bye week, and Nebraska hosted Michigan. I mean, perfect.
Yeah.
So Josiah and I flew out there to Nebraska, went to the game. We tailgated before the game with all the red Nebraska fans. And it's just, they treat Nebraska football kind of the way we treat Kentucky football, where it's almost like a cult, where no matter where you go, they're wearing their Nebraska red. If they're at the airport, they're wearing the red. If they're at dinner, they're wearing the red, kind of like we do with our blue right now. So it was very similar. Then you go to the game and there's 90,000 people in there that are on their feet screaming from the moment the game starts to the minute the game ends. I mean, it's just a great atmosphere.
Mhm.
So Dane only had 2 catches. He didn't have his best game. He had a touchdown in each of the Nebraska first 3 games, but he didn't have one in the game we were there against Michigan. They got a bye week this week, but they're still hopeful. They're going to have a real good year. Their schedule kind of favors them, and he really didn't want to leave Kentucky, but he knew with the offense the way it was going to be and how the culture was. He goes, man, I got to get out of here. So
Right.
he kind of had to make a move what was best for him, even though
Certainly.
I think he would have loved to finish his career here at Kentucky.
Yeah, well, we certainly wish he would have. We could have used him on this team as a standout wide receiver. I think what Dane has already surpassed his touchdown total from last year, and he's well on pace to exceed the yardage from last year.
Yeah, he's got 3 touchdowns already, and he only had 2 all of last season. I
Right.
think he ended up with 11 for his career at Kentucky, but he only had 2 last year. So it was just, you know, we all saw the writing on the wall. The offense wasn't good. The quarterback play wasn't good. The offensive coordinator wasn't good. And all that was not going to change. He didn't think coming into this season the culture wasn't good. So he had to make a decision what was best for himself and took off and went to Nebraska.
Yeah. Well, it's cliche to say, but we do wish him the best. Yeah, that's the dude that I wish was still here. And to hear you talk about what a good guy he is, I wish he was still here on the team, but wish him the best in Nebraska. Um, and we'll see. Hopefully, somebody can step up in that role for Kentucky football.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that because he felt like he let everybody down and had some people mad at him when he left. But you're right. I mean, as great as a football player he is a better kid. He's just
Mm,
an awesome kid. And he has become a great big brother to my son, Josiah. Him and Michael, my son that's in jail, Dane and Michael were very close growing up. They were best
mm,
buddies growing up. And when Michael got in trouble, Dane became that absentee big brother and he's done everything. So I
mm.
owe I owe Dane a lot of gratitude for what he did for my family.
Yeah, that certainly have. If any, yeah, I was working for WKU athletics for the past 10 years before COVID, and was there when Devin was there. So
Yeah.
I don't know their family well, but I know them decently, and such a good family. And I'm glad when I hear you share things about Dante, just their family, what they're up to. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Devin became a star at Western Kentucky. He was the modern day career tackle leader when he left there, and he's still
Mhm.
playing for the Denver Broncos. We went to watch him play. The Broncos played the Colts 2 Sundays ago, so we all loaded up, went up to watch him play in Indianapolis, and he's getting to play on just about every special team. So, no, he's a guy that maybe a little undersized, and a lot of the Division I schools looked over him. Went to Western and became a star, and then worked himself in now where he's still in the NFL. What 4 years after he left Western Kentucky? So it's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to wrap up here, let's do. I want to do a little word association with you. I'm going to mention some names or some topics, and it doesn't have to be one word. Just give me your thoughts. All right.
You're gonna get me in trouble here, aren't you? I know you're gonna get me in trouble.
Well, we're going to start with the boss, Matt Jones.
Super smart. I mean, the man is just unbelievably intelligent. One of the smartest people I've ever met. And he's great at running a radio show. He's great at keeping the show moving, keeping with fresh topics. And please don't tell him I say this, but he saved me because I said I'd quit TV. I was doing part time radio here and there. He invited me to come along to his show. I'm making more money now than I ever have, and it's because of KSR, because of that show he started. So don't ever tell him I said that, but I owe that man a lot of gratitude.
All right, Drew Franklin.
He's like my son. I mean, I am old enough to be his dad, but I look after Drew. I think he looks at me like the crazy uncle. We have a great relationship. He's just a super human being. He's got a huge heart. He's a good husband. He's a good son. He's a good friend, and I really admire Drew Franklin.
Shannon T. Dude.
Shannon, the dude, he's maybe my ride or die of everybody on the crew because we vacation together down at Panama City Beach. We kind of have similar beliefs about certain things, and he's a smart aleck. He's not afraid to tell you what he thinks, and I love that about him. Uh, even though he beats me in pickleball when we play, I still think he's and I know if he was playing at Bellarmine and I was playing Kentucky Western, I probably would take him deep and hit a home run off of him, but he would never admit that.
He's going to be another one to call foul on a fair ball, right?
The home run I hit off Matt was 100% fair, 100% fair, and they called it foul.
Billy Rutledge.
Billy is like the kid we're all watching grow up right in front of our eyes. He started out as basically doing part-time stuff at the radio building in Louisville, and we kept offering him different ways. Hey man, why don't you do this? Get your foot in the door this way, man. Why don't you try this, man? If they ask you to do this, you got to do this. And he's taking it for serious. He's taking it serious. He really wants to do well in this business. And if we all had the focus that Billy had, we could maybe all be more successful in life because he knows what he wants and he's going after it, and he's becoming a good producer, he's becoming a good radio host, and he's becoming a good friend.
Mhm. Another fellow Hilltopper. Mario
Yes, another
Maitland.
fellow Hilltopper. I'm sorry, what do
Mario,
you say?
Mario Maitland.
Mario, he's like my grandson almost. I'm old enough to be his grandson, but he rides with me to all the remote shows. So I've got to know him really well. Very talented. I mean, just super talented doing the social media stuff, photography, videos. He's got a great mind for what people want to see. I don't. He does. He helps me with all my social media stuff pretty much, and he's a superstar in the making. He's going to be a ultra superstar someday in this business.
Three more. Let's start with Mark Stoops.
Mark Stoops and I are pretty close to the same age. We had kids that played football against each other in middle school. When his kids were still here in town, they played against each other in middle school. So we relate on that level. That both had boys the same age. Both recently divorced. We connect on a personal level, and when I'm talking to him, like when he's around, we don't talk football. We talk about our boys and life, and
Mhm.
he always wants to know about Dane because he knew I was close with Dane and stuff. So I think I've got a really good relationship with him that honestly has nothing to do with KSR or football.
Yeah. No, that's awesome to hear. This people
Yeah.
being outside of their personality or outside of their persona of who they are professionally and who they are, as a family man,
You're right.
as a dad.
Yeah, you forget he's Mark Stoops. He makes 10 million a year in football coach, but he's still just a dad. He
Right.
still got boys that they call him dad, and he. I think he eventually is going to get to the point where he's going to maybe move out of here and be closer to them where they are, because they left and they're out in Colorado now. So that may be in our future where that's where he goes.
Right. Let's do two more. Mitch Barnhart.
Mitch Barnhart is a great man. I mean, he's a good Christian man. You never doubt his morals, his principles. When we have things that come up on the show, we always say, well, Mitch Barnhart's not going to allow that. Like when the alcohol sales first came out, we're like, okay, Mitch Barnhart is not going to allow that. Uh, I think he deserves a lot of credit for what he's done at the University of Kentucky, rebuilding all the Olympic sports, baseball, volleyball, soccer, swimming, track and field. Just amazing what he's done with these other sports, let alone what he's done with football and basketball. Yeah, he missed on a hire with Billy Gillispie, hit a home run with John Calipari, and hit a home run with Mark Pope. Yeah, he missed on Joker Phillips, but he hit a home run before that with Rich Brooks and hit a home run after that with Mark Stoops.
Right.
So he's not just a great man. I think he's a great athletic director, one of the best of our generation.
Yeah, I agree too. And we'll wrap it up. Mark Pope.
Mark Pope and I go way back to 1997. I got here in 96, his last couple months as a Kentucky Wildcat. I interviewed him a couple times, but he really didn't know me, and I really didn't know him. But in 97, when Kentucky went on their March Madness run, he joined our team at WLAX as an analyst. And he traveled across the country with us, went to Salt Lake City. I think then they went to San Francisco, and he was every step of the way. Kentucky went all the way to the Final Four in Indianapolis. He was with us doing reports, doing breakdowns, and being Mark Pope, doing crazy stuff. I remember we shot this thing of him on a snow slope in Salt Lake City, Utah, and he took his shirt off and is running around up in the snow in the cold. That's the Mark Pope I knew until a year ago when he became the head coach here. And, he hadn't changed much. He's still that guy. He's another guy who is ultra smart, just super smart, breaks down basketball like I've never seen anybody break down basketball ever before. I hope he has great success because I think he loves being here. I think the players love him. I think the fans love him. And I hope they can have success and he's here for a long, long time.
Yeah, spot on, Ryan. I totally agree with Pope. And last year was it was exciting. It was fun. I know we kind of racked up some losses due to we never had a consistent lineup due to injury. But man, beating Duke again was fun. Beating the national champion Florida 106 to 100 and rep. That was fun.
Yeah.
Sweeping Tennessee in the regular season was fun. It's like brought a excitement and a joy back to Kentucky basketball that has been absent for really since pre-COVID.
We gave him grades after the season was over, and I gave him an A-. And the only reason I gave him an A- is because Arkansas came in here and beat him on our own floor. That's the only. Outside of that, you're right. It was an A season that he had put together this year. I think when it's all said and done, that first team of his may go down in history as one of his best recruiting classes. The fact he had to do it within like 2 months, throw a team together, and they had that great success and got Kentucky basketball back on its feet, got fans excited again because of what he did with that first team. It's going to be remembered fondly in all of our hearts.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Ryan, I appreciate you jumping on here and doing this. And
Sure, man.
uh, anytime you want to hop on and just spill your guts about anything, whether it's life, it's UK sports, it's you need to vent about Matt Jones, shoot me a text and we'll do this again because it's a lot of fun talking with you after listening to you for so long. And I just appreciate your honesty, your vulnerability, talking about some of the things.
Well, I appreciate it. I've been in your shoes, and when I was just starting out, and you're trying to get people to talk to you, and I remember thinking back then, man, if I ever get to that point, I am never going to say no. I'm going to do it because you're trying to do your job just like I was trying to do my job back then. But when you said basically on your platform of what your show's about, I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to do that one because God has given me a lot of blessings in life. I mean, there was a time in my life, Adam, where I didn't think I was even going to be a dad. And I think God's up there with his sense of humor laughing at me, like, just wait. Just wait. I got 3 boys for you. all through adoption. That was my plan all along. He knew my plan long before I knew my plan. So me not being able to father a child is one of the best blessings he ever gave me, really, because it gave me my three boys.
His will so much greater than ours.
Amen. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, for sure.
Brian, I appreciate you, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Anytime, Adam, you got my number.
Thank you, sir.
All right, man. See you.